Okay, in this tutorial we're going to make a very simple palette using instances and just primitives. I'm not making anything editable, there's no need for it, so we'll start off with a cube and let's make this into a plank. The dimensions 200, 20, and 1200. So we got something like this. Now, if we want to import this into a game engine, we have to keep it as low poly as possible, but it still has to look good. That's rule number one. Has to look good. So let's give this one a fillet. And obviously the fillet is way too big. So we'll make this 3 or 4, maybe a 2. And the number of subdivisions 1. Now, you're going to get triangles here at the corners, triangle polygons, but that's okay, as long as you keep that number down. Right, so here we have the cube. Let's call this guy a plank, and let's make a new material, and this new material is going to look like wood. The default material has reflectance, which is basically the shine or the highlight. I'm going to flick that off, and I'm going to go up to the color channel, and I'm going to get one of the standard procedural textures inside of Cinema 4D. Now, these are really old procedural textures, but they're still pretty useful. So I'm going to click on that little arrow there and go to Surfaces and then Wood. This is like a default wood texture. I'm just going to plop it onto the object, but first I'm going to call this hout, which is the Dutch word for wood, and let's just stick it on by clicking and dragging and sticking on the texture tag to the 3D primitive. Right, now this, what you see here, is always a preview. It's never your final product. Whether you're post-rendering or exporting the model to a game engine, this is never your final product. So keep that in mind, and just to see how it looks, you do Control-R to render. Now, I think the veins on this plank are a little bit too stretchy, so I'm going to go into Wood, and we're just going to change one single item, one single parameter. For instance, wavy is now at 50%. Let's make that 200. Go crazy, and let's see what it does. That's slightly better. I think I'm okay with this. So here you see the top or bottom end of a tree, and this is, of course, along the tree, the length of the tree. So this is okay. This is my first plank. Now, the way to make the palette is by using instances. This plank has, let's see, no, I should be here, object information. Sorry, I seldom look this up, so that's why I had to look for it. And it now has 26 polygons. That's quite a few more than just 6. But that's okay, because my object looks better and it's still low polygon. Game engines can handle quite a bit. Anywho, we got the plank here, and we're just going to make an instance out of it. Here we have an instance, and in the new version 21, there's an extra menu from MoGraph, and you can make a Mo instance. Just for the purpose of this tutorial, that is good enough. Now, the plank instance is a node, it's something, and it references to plank. If I delete that, then it has no reference at all, and I can drag this out, and I only have a pivot point, a null point. Dragging it back in, plop. Now you can alter the planks by just rotating them. For instance, flipping them over the p-axis. You can do it by hand, but I like to do it accurately, and that will more or less show you two different planks. Now, if you make another plank, you can reference referenced objects. So you can make an instance of an instance. That doesn't really matter, but I usually use a true geometric object just to make things simple and easy. Now, here we have it that we can actually turn this one, the H, that's the heading. If I press R on my keyboard and I use one of these bands on the rotation globe, let's call it rotation globe, then you can tell that you can do it just like that, but I love to do it numerically, so that's exactly 180. Right, let's do that again. And move this up. And let's move this one. The B won't matter, but let's make this a 180 and a 180. So we basically have all the combinations of rotations, and it looks like 4 different planks. Right, grouping this, I just select this and I use Alt-G. I have to use it so often, so I'm not going up here and then down here. I just use Alt-G and I get this set of planks. And of course the hierarchy is foldable. That makes it nice and neat, just under one node. Now, what you can do is actually make another copy, but a true copy. So I'm click dragging this while holding the control key down, and let's call it close. I actually don't have an English word for it. And this is actually one of the bulky parts in the pallet that holds the bottom and the top side together. And let's make this a 200 by 200 again, because it's square. And that's the other part that you're gonna copy as an instance and actually move to the sides. So let's move this one to the spot right here, and then the original, the instance to this corner, and I'm doing it very sloppy. Best thing to do is use one of the F keys at the top. You can use F1 to F1 to F5 to actually flip to a different view, and I'm taking the top view, which is F2. And I'm pushing H, which will actually centralize and focus on everything in the scene. And here, here I can tell exactly in an orthographic view where my objects are. So let's do this. And what I'll do is, well, I'll make a reference object from a reference object. And do this one as well. Let's put these two at the bottom and then select the two of them and just put them on the other side. Right. Now, how to finish the palette. Use Google for a reference of what it actually looks like, a true palette. And just use instances and group them in such a fashion that you actually get a palette. So, for instance, now I have to move these blocks and just do it like this. And I can use the front view, F4, just to centralize it like that. Right, that's it. I think you should be able to do it now.